Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you, you thirsty bunch of beer drinkers, whenever and wherever you are tuning in from. Well, we did it. We made it through 9 days of activations all across Ontario. The second annual GLB Beer Week was a huge success, and we couldn't be more thrilled with how things went. Between September 27th to October 5th, from Thunder Bay to the Toronto Islands, London to Ottawa, the fresh GLB was flowing, and the people we raised glasses with were simply amazing. It was great to connect with old friends and make new ones along the way, one pint at a time. GLB Beer Week had one goal in mind, and has one goal in mind every year, to bring people together to celebrate craft beer, to remind people that beer is fun, and to put the damn phones down from time to time and connect in real life with others. And I'm super proud of our GLB team, Team GLB, hashtag, for stepping up the way we did to execute 9 days of activations. Like I said, right across the province. Pub crawls, beer dinners, tap takeovers, meet and greets, sensory classes, LCBO tastings, a fall market at the brewery, Oktoberfest parties, and more. It was simply terrific. And I can't wait to see what the crew puts together for next year. And I'm positive that it'll only get bigger and better. So stay tuned for the dates for GLB Week 2025. Now, today, I'm welcoming one of our dear friends and Etobicoke neighbors to the pod, Mr. Aaron Prothro. Aaron, the founder and CEO of Mascot Brewery, joins the show for the first of what will likely be multiple appearances if I get my way, as I love talking to this guy. He's as passionate as they come in this industry from both a brewing and entrepreneurial perspective, and he's created something very special with his company. Through Aaron, Mascot was Canada's first Black-owned and operated brewery when he opened the doors back in 2015, and is still one of the only handful of breweries to this day. Black-owned breweries, that is, to this day. It is something he's extremely proud of and uses for good. Through his Black Owned Collab series, he aspires to empower other Black entrepreneurs to build a better world, knocking down barriers to entry for everyday people who just want to drink a damn delicious beer. But let's get to Aaron to tell us all about that. But after I crack a delicious Old Dusseldorf alt beer. Hang tight. We'll be right back with Aaron Prothro, founder of Mascot Brewery.
There appears to be only one line on this sheet. $50 for a case of Great Lakes Premium Lager. That's it? That's the ad? Okay. Cases of Great Lakes Premium Lager are only $50 every day of the year.
Well, hello there, Aaron. We did it.
We did it.
We got you here in studio to talk shop, and it's about time.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I got you a beer. You wanted something low alc, so I brought you a Burst New England Pale Ale. You can crack that sucker open and get right into it. Now, while you're doing that, I got to tell you, I prepped really hard for this interview, like I do for everyone. But I literally blew off work yesterday to go sit at the tap room in Etobicoke, Mascot tap room, which is just down the road from us, to drink some Pilly and have that amazing smash burger. Your smash burger is phenomenal. But the Pilly was tasting great. So there. I told you I did my homework. We can wrap this up now. But thanks for coming. Seriously, it's great to have you here.
Great to be here.
Let's kick off our chat with you telling listeners a little bit about yourself. Who is Aaron Prothro? And we were just talking kind of off mic here, but I always want to say Protho, just the way your name's spelled. But who is Aaron Prothro, and what are you all about?
Well, I think I'm a Nova Scotian, which a lot of people in Toronto don't know. I still have my Nova Scotia driver's license, so I'm pretty. I'm an East Coast boy, entrepreneur, dad.
Yes. Yep.
Really someone who likes to give people access to cool shit, you know?
And you've been doing it for a long time here in Ontario.
23 years.
23 years. And on the drive over here, you were saying something about Nova Scotia and maybe the potential to, to take up some roots there again. But why the hell are you here when you're in Nova Scotia? Because I lived in Nova Scotia for a year. Everyone still thinks to this day that didn't know me before, but they think I'm from Halifax. I love the province.
Yeah.
I love the Maritimes. Why are you here in Toronto? What kept you here?
Well, I think Nova Scotia is one of those places you gotta leave to appreciate.
Yeah.
And I didn't really see a lot of opportunity for myself. 22 years ago, Nova Scotia was a different place than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people were pretty stuck in their ways, and there wasn't a lot of innovation. There wasn't a lot of room for growth, and I wanted to better myself. So I thought the best way to do that was to get right in the mix in Toronto and surround myself with a different vibe, different energy.
And you got into beer somehow.
Yeah, years later.
So before we talk about starting Mascot and getting into that, how did beer come to be with you?
Well, I mean, it really started out east because, you know, everyone has a drinking problem, I think.
Sociable.
Yeah, a lot of those. I think drinking was just an inherently social thing to do. And beer was my beverage of choice for a long time. And I have a lot of great memories drinking beer with friends. So it really started out just as a love for, you know, getting together and beer being that kind of vehicle to inspire those conversations.
Kitchen parties?
A lot of kitchen parties. And I actually, you know, when I moved to Toronto, I was pretty healthy. I was a personal trainer. I played rugby. You know, I was really into my body and working on myself. And I didn't drink for a while. So I didn't drink for probably about, I would say, 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Not just because I was, you know, very obsessive about my macros and I was that guy.
Okay.
You know, and I think I kind of hit my ceiling with training and realized that there was a limit to my potential. Just training one client at a time, even though I really enjoyed that job. I wanted to do more. Yeah. So that's when I got into, you know, I was studying nutrition, and my first business outside of training was a multivitamin dog treat called Pro. So big dog lover. My mom was a breeder of dogs back home, and she made her own dog food.
Okay. And
so I kind of compressed her recipe into a functional dog treat called Pro. I know, weird, right?
Yeah. So yeah, so you've been an entrepreneur since when? Since you moved to Toronto, or even before?
Pretty much since I was 24.
So I got a couple questions. So Kaylee, or I said Kaylee Cottage. I was talking about that earlier with someone else, but no, the Kitchen Kaylee's is which is Kitchen Party. But what beer were you drinking in Halifax when you were there?
I drank Olin.
Olin Export, yeah.
I mean, Canadian.
Yeah. Okay. So back then it wasn't mostly about like the craft. It was like just the act of getting together and bending elbows.
The first time I drank craft beer was Propeller.
Okay.
And I hated it. So that was my first actual.
That's the beer that I really cut my teeth on actually in 2006 was Propeller and Garrison. Were those big the IPAs back then.
Yeah. You know, it takes time for your palate to evolve.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
And back then I wasn't really into food like I am now. I wasn't into wine. I wasn't into all these things. And I think that as I started to drink beer, I guess the next time I drank beer where I was like, oh, wow, this is really interesting was, I think it was a DuPont de Saison. And then that really kind of started something in my brain where I'm like, oh, this is really cool.
Yeah, it's more than just like liquid, watery, beer tasty.
Yeah, it's like it has more than a function of
getting drunk,
getting tuned up and having fun with your boys, right? So, you know, and that kind of started me down the path of drinking more beer, more for the taste and the flavor profile.
And to wash all the cans of tuna that you would have ate out of your mouth as a personal trainer.
Definitely.
So that's the journey that got you to where you were in Toronto. You were doing the personal training. You were doing Pro dog treats, and then you got into drinking some better beer. So then Mascot comes around in 2015, but through contract brewing at first. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah, so before I opened Mascot, it was 2 years probably I was researching beer. And I was just trying to figure out from a business perspective, does this make sense? You know, what is this? Like how would this work? And that's when I started to learn how expensive and
but you still did it.
and difficult you know, it would be to open up a craft brewery. But I'm just one of those people who I don't back down from a fight. Yeah. I kind of like a fight. So I wanted to take on the challenge, and I hooked up with Michael Duggan. Yep. And I drank his number 9. I was a big fan of that. And he helped me first with trying to understand how I would actually do this. Mm-hmm. And I realized quickly that from operating already pro bono and bringing a product to market, how difficult it is. And I didn't want to spend a bunch of money building out a brewery to lose it for the first couple of years with no customers. Yeah. So I also,
back then there was no, like, now you build a brewery and you build a tap room first.
Yeah.
Back in 2015, 2017, whatever, you didn't do that. You built the brewery first and then said, well, maybe customers will come.
Well, no, I built the tap room first.
You did in 2015.
Yeah. Yep. So that's when we opened up. So I got Mercer in February of 2015, and then
it's Mercer Street in Toronto.
Yeah. So three level location, short-term lease. And one of the guys who used to work for me was there, and he was looking to kind of get out of that space. And I was living in Nova Scotia actually at the time, helping my mom. So I flew back and I checked out the spot, and I'm like, hey, this place is dope. I see the potential in it. Mm-hmm. It was Bauhaus back in the day, so I used to go to parties there, and a little bit of nostalgia for that building for me. And I really saw that area was the entertainment district, but there was nothing really kind of homey, like a hangout.
Yeah.
And I thought that it would be perfect spot to really open up. The craft beer at the time represented that kind of laid back, grounded kind of vibe for me. Mm-hmm. And I thought everything else was like bottle service and clubs, but with all the new condominiums and towers around, there was no spot to really hang out. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's when, I started kind of figuring out how to do Mascot.
And so you had Duggan doing the house beers. And then in 2017, that's when you installed that crazy ass deep down in the pit. And so
oh God, that was not meant to be like that.
I got a question. So you put a brew house in 2017 on Mercer Street, but before we move forward on anything else, you got to spill the beans on what it was like brewing and packaging beer in that space, because everything was so damn tight. I guess, like, I can remember going in, and Siobhan was brewing, but guests were literally sitting beside tanks. Like you'd be cleaning and you'd be like, hey, don't get too close.
Right.
But what was that like? Because that had to be a challenge.
Oh God, it was hell. It was, you can't run a production brewery downtown Toronto. No. Like, I didn't know that at the time, because I didn't know what I didn't know. But, Siobhan came on to help finish the brewery, and we got this stacked tank built. It was a mash mixer and a lauter, and we had it measured, everything. The engineer measured it. When we got it, it was 4 feet too tall.
I remember this. Yeah.
So, I was like, what? How did they mess this up? And so it would have taken another probably 4, 5, 6 months to get the tanks. So I'm like, listen, let's just dig a hole. Let's just dig a hole, because, when I got into that location, I knew I only had a short window to prove my concept.
Because you said you had a short lease? Yeah. Okay.
Very short lease, but I really believed in, the idea of Mascot. So I'm like, we dug the hole, and we put we dug it out big enough so we could get down there, and it actually wasn't that big of an issue. Mm-hmm. The brewing was the easy part, all the packaging and everything that came along with it.
Was the packaging not done outside or at the back, or in like a...
So I put a shipping container.
Yeah,
okay. Can in the back. Yeah. We had cold room / packaging area, and we had Northern Canning coming and doing mobile canning.
Okay.
But we had a bottler, so we Siobhan is very, great with her hands, great plumber, amazing brewer as well, amazing person. She built
sailor,
and sailor. she built a bottling line, so we were bottling as well out of that little setup, bottling and kegging.
And you made it. You did it. You made it. That location though is long gone. forcing you to move. You went from there to King Street.
No. So that turned into Nobu Condominiums. It was a development project. And we went back to contract brewing for about 8 months.
But then when you reopened, it was King? No?
Well, then we got Etobicoke before that.
Oh, I thought it was
because we started brewing out of Etobicoke before we opened King.
So how about this? You tell me. So the lease expired. They were putting up condos. What was the next step in the evolution of Mascot?
Well, it was a brew pub model, so we were super hospitality focused. I didn't really focus on distribution that much until really the pandemic. Like that's when I kind of realized, the reason I got into this thing was to grow a brand, and I lost sight of that. And, that downtime gave me the energy to, reimagine, what Mascot was and what the intention was behind it was really to, take that sophisticated product of craft beer, but present it in a very accessible way. And, to people that look like me, that I didn't see represented in the craft beer space at the time. So, that's when, I developed our ethos of chill craft, and that's really what that embodies. And, the whole goal for Mascot is really to change the perspective of what a craft beer drinker can look like, from, what it was or is at the time to something more. Yeah.
And you can say it's predominantly white bearded.
Yeah. And, I don't inherently have a problem with that. I think that, I didn't approach it from that angle. My angle was more about from love, where it's like, hey, there's other people that don't fuck with craft beer because they don't think it's for them.
Because the tap room doesn't look like them. Yeah. They don't feel comfortable walking into that tap room. Well, maybe I'm too ingrained into the industry or too close to, following you, even though I got my dates wrong here in my craft research. But I think you've really shifted the conversation. We're going to talk about that. So let's put a pin in that for just right now, because I do want to know about the evolution. So I thought it was King Street and Etobicoke in 2019, but you're saying no, you had Etobicoke first and then King Street?
Yep.
Okay. So that's a huge shift for I don't care how seasoned you are from a entrepreneur perspective, but even from a brewery perspective, that is a lot of moving parts. That's a lot of gaskets. That's a lot of clamps for two spaces. So walk me through what was going through your head, and that's a stressful time. So what were you feeling like when you lost your Mercer, you lost your first home, and then you're like, fuck it, let's do 2 locations?
Well, that was never the intention. When I saw Etobicoke, I had gone back to it a couple times, and I first saw it, I didn't really like it. And the landlord had been to our King spot and really wanted us out there. And he kind of convinced me to do it. And, I looked around, and I had just went to Miami, and I was in Wynwood, and I saw these industrial areas that are becoming like these cool neighborhood hangouts. And I thought, hey, this is something that kind of could be Etobicoke, the cities get more expensive. All the artists are getting pushed out. They're coming west. So I thought that there was a neighborhood there, as you guys know, you're down the street. But I thought it was underserviced from kind of what we do and providing kind of like a bit more of that entertainment vibe, that cool vibe. So yeah, we built the first half of Etobicoke was the brewery. So we built out the brewery, which was a lot of work. And after that, their opportunity presented itself for King.
Okay.
And, King was a 4-minute walk from where we were. Yeah. So I knew that we had clientele down there.
You already built up a base of loyal consumers, and hey, 4-minute walk, here you go. Pop up here.
So yeah, it made sense. And so that's what we did. We did, it was a fully fixtured restaurant before. So,
what was it before? It wasn't Elephant Castle.
It was El Catrin. El Carbolito, sorry.
Okay.
Le Catrin, or I think Le Catrin or El Catrin is upstairs. So yeah, it wasn't a crazy or really expensive build out. I'd already done a few build outs at that time in my life. So, we took that on, and yeah, it was a success. It was super busy. And that took us into 2020,
Boom.
when shit hit the fan, and we had to build out the rest of Etobicoke as well. So that's when I kind of switched gears and was trying to figure out what we're going to do, because we didn't have any money. And it was a really tough time. And I saw the vulnerability of our business model. And, you know, I really dug into the whole brand. Like, branding and marketing is really my passion. So, you know, that's when I dug into, hey, we're going to really give it a go with this production side. Let's figure out what makes us different. Let's figure out how we service our customers and solve problems for them specifically. And, you know, it's not just enough to have great beer. You know, even though great beer and great product is, you have to have that.
You have to put the whole thing together into a big story.
That's a piece.
Yes, it's a piece. So you led me right into the next question. I didn't even have to push you there. How did you come up with the name Mascot? Like, what does it stand for? And what is it like? What does it mean?
So a mascot traditionally would be, you know, a symbol of luck, or a talisman, something that is rooting for something. And, you know, we're mascots, or we're ambassadors for Chillcraft. So we're the mascots of Chillcraft.
Have you TM'd Chillcraft yet?
I don't know.
I'm going. Okay. And the logo, is it a fighting rabbit, or
so
is it
the rabbit is missing a foot,
what happened
because
to it?
a foot would be a symbol of luck.
Oh, the rabbit foot
as,
on the
as we know
keychain.
how much
Okay.
grit it takes to you know, open a brewery, it's not about luck, so fuck luck. And that's why the rabbit's missing a foot. Most people notice that later.
Do you get asked a lot of questions?
I get asked
Like
all
that-
the time.
All the time, yeah.
Which is good. That's what it's for.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
it's a conversation starter.
Everything, you know, I try to do, there's a lot of thought behind it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just, hey, let's do this thing. I want there to be meaning.
What's the name of the rabbit? Do you have a name?
We don't have a name for the rabbit.
Okay. Like Fighting Octo, or Octopus wants to fight. We just call him Octo.
Right.
But yeah. So talk about some of the brands in your portfolio. Where can people find them too?
Well, in the LCBO, we currently have our lightweight lager, which is our low calorie lager. We have our Juicy J, which is, you know, that juice bomb.
Juicy J?
Yeah.
What's
And
the
that's,
J stand for?
well, Juicy J was a character in Living Color.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you remember.
I remember Living Color, yeah.
the Juice Mania. Juice. And Jim Carrey was the character, and I always thought that was hilarious.
What was Jim Carrey? He was also the fire captain or something?
Yeah, Fire Marshal.
Fire Marshal, yeah.
But yeah, so Juicy J is named after that.
Kids, that was a great show. Go YouTube it.
Yeah. And we have our Watermelon Beat. Watermelon Beat was kind of like a legacy thing where we had brewed it with Siobhan originally, and because we were trying a bunch of greenhouse juices, and we were blending a bunch of stuff, and we blended watermelon and beet. Like, oh, this is like really interesting. So then we made a sour with that. So those three, our Frost Hammer double IPAs coming down the pipe right now.
Nice. New England or West Coast, or
That's a New England style.
New England style. Nice. And now paint a picture. I've been to 2 of the 3, which we're going to talk about the expansion in a second, but paint a picture of each location for the customer. So I want a vivid painting. Vaughn, go walk us through what customers would see when they visit, and what they would experience.
So downtown's more of a bar. You know, I like to call it Bar Mascot. So it's a subgrade space with you go walk through the spot. There's a beer garden in the back, double level. You know, it's a real party spot. So, you know, it's going to give you that more of a bar-y vibe. Same menu that we have in Etobicoke. So the food we try to represent, we call it cultural comfort food.
What do you eat at both locations? What do you like?
I mean, the katsu chicken sandwich is probably
gonna
my
get
go-to.
that yesterday, but I got the smash burger. So the smash burger is fantastic, though.
But shout out to Chef Andrew; he's amazing at what he does. And you know, we have it's more social dining, so we have tapas inspired menu with some larger staples. And you know, the King is really kind of, it's in the mix. So you have a lot of people that are coming after work. We get a lot of the theater crowd there. We get a lot of Jays traffic there. So that's really what King's all about. Etobicoke is more laid back. We get a lot of families. We sell a lot more food in Etobicoke. People are coming to hang out and eat and chill.
Chill craft.
Yep, chill craft. We do a lot of events.
Yep.
So
I just heard your Oktoberfest had like 250 people just like that. My
Oktoberfresh.
My Oktoberfresh. But the server that I had was just like, oh man, the beers were just flowing.
Yeah, it was busy.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good vibe.
So I walked through the front door. What do I see?
The bottle shop. So yeah, the first thing you see is the bottle shop, and then you walk in, you'll see the brewery. Through behind glass, big open space, lots of seating around. We have a little games room area.
And a beautiful bar. You got a beautiful bar on the backside.
Yep. Nice bar, great bar setup.
And you can see the tanks through glass, and you're right in the mix. Okay, so let's talk about expansion. So we're going to switch gears. So you have plans for world domination, I'm going to assume.
No.
You purchased Kensington Brewery, both the production facility in Vaughan and the brew pub in Kensington Market. That was late 2022 or 2023?
Yep, that was December 2022.
Okay. So I was going to say late 2022, early 2023. What was the impetus? Like, what the hell are you thinking? Why?
Well, you know, the Etobicoke location really wasn't big enough for us to do any type of large scale production. I think the thing that gets kind of lost, you know, when you're opening a brewery is the understanding of logistics. So as you grow, you know, the trucks get bigger and you've got to bring a lot more ingredients in and ship a lot more stuff out. And, you know, even though Etobicoke was set up better, more of an industrial area, we didn't have a loading dock back there. And to get big trucks in and out of there was really difficult. Yeah. So, and we didn't have the space. So, you know, it was just a 10-barrel
like
system.
A storage space too for packaged product, right?
And it was a smaller brew house because we had taken that brew house from the Mercer location.
Yep.
So, you know, that was always kind of like a brew pub size. And then, you know, realizing that in order to do any type of real production or any type of scale or distribution, we had to have a bigger brewing facility. And that's kind of when Kensington came about. They were looking.
Just happened to happen.
They were looking, you know, I was looking too, and we got it done.
Worlds came together.
Yeah.
So the brew pub in Kensington closed for renovations. And there was a lot of, because I remember how this broke. I think we had talked and I knew you had purchased them, but you closed the Kensington brew pub. There was a lot of chatter going, what the hell? What happened to Kensington? Oh, they closed. And then it came, actually Mascot bought them. It was one of the quietest sales of a brewery that I can remember. And, but you reopened it after a bit and operated for a while, but it's shuttered now, right? Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
So why did you, again, was it because just that area you wanted to focus on production, or did you want to focus back in Etobicoke?
Well, I think, you know, with the real prize for us was the Vaughan facility. You know, I wasn't completely invested in opening up another tap room because it's a lot of work. But
people don't understand how much work goes into bars and restaurants, tap rooms even. They just don't understand.
It is a lot of work. And, you know, I didn't really know what Kensington was. So I had to do a lot of research and digging into understanding Kensington, because you ask different people in the organization, you get different answers. So for me, Kensington Brewery was really about the market and, you know, stripping away everything else. We wanted to make it hyper localized. And so I just did a rebrand of the visual identity. We started building the location, but we realized really quickly that Vaughan needed some work too. So we kind of came to a crossroads where we were like, well, we could invest in this $300,000 canning line, or we could finish Kensington.
And which is going to bring you more would be the Vaughan location.
Yeah. So, you know, we let it go. We at that time we made the decision where it's like, listen, our heart's not really into opening another tap room right now. Even though we started, we want to really focus on growing the distribution side of the business.
Well, I think that, did you get any blowback? Because I think it's fair, like if you explain what you just said.
Right.
But did you have a lot of blowback from the market or the people in the community?
I think there is definitely people who were probably disappointed, but I think when you look at a brand like Kensington, I think it was really built around kind of the people that were involved there, and not really about something bigger. And
well, it's hard to take a brand like Kensington and put it out to, let's say, Ottawa, or hey, Kensington, what's Kensington about? Oh, it's a little neighborhood in Toronto. So, okay.
And so anyway, so there was some people who were, who were disappointed about that. And for us, we're really focused on growing Mascot, but we still paid homage to Kensington by keeping some of their brands alive. So we do still brew Kensington beers. We do still have a SKU of Kensington in the LCBO too.
And breaking news, maybe, or is it going to continue, or just going to turn into Mascot one day?
Well, it can't turn into Mascot.
Yeah,
because you're not allowed to transfer SKUs.
Okay.
Yeah, over in the LCBO. So we're going to continue to run it as Kensington. I think there's still fans for that beer. So we're just going to continue to make it.
So the biggest hurdles you faced in purchase and expansion, coupled with the move of the original location, like you've been through a lot since 2015. You've moved from Mercer to Etobicoke to King Street to adding Vaughan and Kensington. That's 5 locations in less than 10 years. Where are you going next?
Yeah.
You moving? You buying something next?
No, I mean, I don't really have the aspiration to have like this massive conglomerate brewery.
No world domination.
No world domination. I think we just want to brew. We want to service our customers. We want to continue to provide value to them. We want to do our thing and the way that we like to do it.
Yeah.
And so, that's kind of what it is. And as it grows, it's going to grow. But as an entrepreneur, I have a lot of other things that I want to do.
That's one thing about you. You just don't seem to stop. And so you are considered to be the first Black person to own and operate a brewery in Canada. True?
True.
Yes. I can't think of one. I've been in this industry a long, long time. That's got to be tremendous. Maybe it's not, but maybe it is a tremendous significance to you.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a massive part of who we are. Like, I think that that experience is kind of what gave me the idea for Mascot in the first place.
It pushed you forward. It's like kicked you in the ass and said, I want to be a flag bearer. Or
well, no, I don't really think like that. I think that I'm more of the mind of, like I said, my personal ethos is really to give people access to dope shit. I like to see people happy and enjoying things, whether it be food, whether it be a party, whether it be beer. That brings me joy. So I think that was a big part of saying, hey, beer doesn't have to look like this. It can look like this too. And we can represent a lot of other ethnicities in craft beer. So that the Black experience is something that made me very sensitive to, to what that means for me. And it gave me more insight on how we could better articulate our messaging and our brand to people.
Well, again, you did it again. You're good at this, man. You led me into the next one. Knowing you for as long as I have, I know the personal story, your personal story is a big part of Mascot. Has to be as a founder. Inspiration. It's an inspiration for the beers, the art, the events. And I know it's on your website, but I know this from you. It's the ethos. So your personal story is intertwined with the ethos of Mascot. So maybe walk us through that and why that is.
Well, I think it all stems from entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship for me really started, from a young age, not creating businesses from a young age, but really having to play by myself and come up with creative ideas, So that kind of me creating a space for myself at a very young age kind of drove me to do that on a much bigger scale as a business. And, that being mixed race growing up in Nova Scotia, it's you're different, right?
In Nova Scotia. Yeah. Yep.
For sure. And I think that I used to be not ashamed of that, but it now is something where it's a point of power for me.
But at the time you felt like you felt different. You felt, and
maybe there was too some shame in certain situations because I was made to feel shame for that. And I think now that turned into more anger, and that anger turned into creative energy. It
was a very racist town for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Or a province, I would say.
I don't know. Yes and no. I don't want to label it as that. I think that every place has its racism.
So there's been a lot of change, when I lived there was a lot of change coming or in process in Africville of saying we can't, in my terms, whitewash what we've done in Nova Scotia. And so does that have significance to you as well too?
Yeah, Africville, there's segregation in Nova Scotia for sure. And I just call it the quiet racism.
Yeah.
That's kind of more how I feel is it's not as in your face, but it exists systemically. And Africville is a great example of that, where you could just think you could wipe out a whole area.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think fast forward to kind of now, the whole idea around the entrepreneurship is really about empowerment. And I believe that, people of color shouldn't try to ask for permission.
Yep.
And I found that a lot of people in craft beer, Black people, were trying to ask for permission, trying to ask if they could belong. And for me, it was more about creating a space where I belonged, building your own table. And that's like an entrepreneurial trait where, you want to use that creativity to control the narrative, right?
I've heard you use that analogy before, and I've heard you say to me, I remember this, I don't know when it was, maybe during COVID, or instead of sitting at the table, build your own table. I think it's something along those lines, right? Yeah. And I think, again, knowing you've done that, and you've done it with pride. I can see the pride. You take tremendous pride in what you've built and the people you represent and the people you want to bring under the tent, if you will. So I see that, but does it weigh on you? Do you carry the mantle, helping to inspire other Black individuals in brewing and or business in general? Again, knowing you want to be that guy, but does it weigh heavy on you?
Well, I think that it's just representation. I think it's super important. And representation in positions of power and influence, I think, is very important. I think that the younger generation evolves through aspiration, and representation for me really means that they can aspire to be something. And I think that when people can see themselves in somebody or in a leader that's doing some shit, they're inspired to do that too, because they think they can do it.
Yeah.
So they can, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the thing that motivates me. I'm a pretty, introverted person, unless you get a couple of beers in me, but
I was going to say pretty chill guy. Yeah.
But, and I don't like to, be super public, but I think that there's certain things where you have to be public about it. And, that's kind of what I carry. It's more, I don't really think about it. I just do the things,
Well, I was going to say, I'm glad you said that because you do it, and you do it in a subtle way that's not in your face, but at the same time, if you need to be, I see that you could do that. And that's what I love about you. That you're no bullshit. You just say what you feel. And you've created a Black Owned Collab series. Talk to me about that, because I love it. I love some of what the events and stuff that you've tried to do. So you got a platform here. You just say it.
Yeah. Well, the Black Owned Collab was talking to other entrepreneurs and seeing if their Black experience influenced their businesses. And it was also to shine light on said businesses. So because we're in the beer industry, that's where it's began, working with other Black brewers, Black entrepreneurs in the beer space, interviewing them, talking about their story, understanding, how it influenced their brand, their beer, their perspective, shining light on them, making some dope beer.
You're saying all this, and to me, it's admiration what you're doing. It really is. Whether you think what you're doing is impactful or not, I hope you do. But hearing you say it, you're doing something pretty special here.
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate you noticing that, and and again, it's nice to be recognized, and it's nice to. It's crazy. Like, there's such a.
I don't think you're doing it for recognition, though. You're not.
No, but it's nice to see that people are noticing those things. Because the word's getting out there. But if you look at the community of brewers in the U.S., it's a completely different vibe. And
it took years for that to happen. In my own, again, knowing the community, knowing the industry, I should say, it took a long time for that to happen. And in Canada, are we doing it? No, I think you're doing a big part of that.
Yeah, I hope. I think that kind of beyond beer, I just hope that I can inspire people to go out and, just live their truth and not be intimidated by their difference, or embrace their differences and use that as a point of differentiation.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say it's, do you think it's easier to do it in a big city like Toronto, or?
Man, Toronto's changed so much. Yeah. Everything's getting harder in the city.
Yeah. Well, from a dollar perspective and stuff, but
just getting around.
Okay, well, we're going to shift gears again, and we're going to talk about the LCs, the LCBO LCs. So I got a little music for you.
Okay.
So you and Mascot just won a big award at the 30th annual LCs, an annual event hosted by the LCBO that recognizes past year's achievements in partnership, excellence, and innovation. I'm just waiting for the music to continue on here. What award did you win?
Spirit and Sustainability.
Okay. So before we get into the award, I was in the audience.
What is the song?
This is Barbie Girl, man.
Oh God, I didn't even know that. Damn.
So I'm in the audience, and the music that day was just crazy.
Yeah.
It was like we were in techno, just a party zone. And they announced that you won this award, and I'm clapping my ass off. I'm like, Aaron's up there. And I'm like, what the hell are they playing? So you walked up to get your award.
Yeah. To Barbie Girl?
Barbie Girl.
I didn't even notice, man. I was in a daze. Yeah.
So what do you think of that now? It's a Barbie Girl. It made me laugh so hard. I had to do that. Okay. But in all seriousness, so the award is awesome. It's well-deserved. I'm sure you feel, and the team feels really great to be acknowledged for something from the LCBO, which it's a big award, man, and you should be really proud of this. So tell me about the whole award. Why'd you win it, and what does it mean to you?
Well, I mean, I don't know how their voting process goes, but I'm guessing the reason that we won is because we did a really big fireside chat and for the organization, and it was for Black History Month. Yep. And it was the most viewed that they had a fireside chat. So, I'm thinking that had something to do with it. The fact that, we're pushing the narrative of inclusivity of different ethnicities in craft beer. I think that probably had something to do with it. I don't know.
But what did it mean to you, man? Like, because it's a big thing. Like that room was full of people from the brewing industry, spirits, wines, cider. Like, it's a big deal.
Yeah, no. I guess it hasn't really dawned on me until right now, but I think that it's our biggest partner, the LCBO.
Yep.
You know, to be recognized by them is pretty huge for us as a small craft brewery.
And the word gets out, 600 stores are like, hey, Mascot, hey, have you checked out these guys? Yeah, maybe bring a couple cans in of Pilly or the new double IPA you got going on. But so we're in the audience and we hear you win this, and it's Great Lakes has been around 37 years.
Yeah.
We've won a couple LCs in the years, but I have never felt more like proud or pride to see you guys go up there. Like it was a tremendous thing that the LCBO recognized the work that you're doing. So kudos to you, and I hope you're go home tonight and actually soak it in. Like you said, you haven't, but for God's sakes, man, soak it up.
I'm not good with stuff like that. I'm like.
But this is now you can turn this into some marketing. You can be like, hey guys, we're over here. We've been here for a long time. We make great beer and we're great people. We're doing some great things for the industry. We just got recognized for it. Buy our fucking beer.
Yes.
Come to Great Lakes. Come to Mascot in Etobicoke next
work
year.
for us now.
That's right. Okay, man. So what's next? You're a busy guy. You got a brew pub, a tap room, a production facility, a dad. You said that off the top. Where do you find the time to fit everything in?
It's really difficult, to be honest. And
a podcast. Now you're on a podcast.
Yeah. No, my top priority is definitely my family. My kids. That's the most noble thing that I feel like I can do with my time is raise some better people. And I think that, this year has really been kind of about me focusing on me again. Mm-hmm. I've been focused on my business a lot. The kids are getting a bit older. So getting back to like a routine, getting back into the gym, focusing on, maybe developing some healthy products.
Nice.
Coming down the pipe.
You're not going to stop is what you're saying. You're just going to keep going.
No, we're not going to stop. We're going to keep going.
I meant, in innovation. Like,
yes.
In innovation.
Yeah, definitely. Like we have a new non-alcoholic beer coming out,
okay.
Which is going to be pretty cool, pretty interesting. It's an adaptogenic beer, non-alcoholic beer. So it's going to be the first of its kind in Canada.
Okay. Stop. Tell us about it. What does that mean?
That's all I can say right now.
Okay.
That's all I can say right now.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Well, I was going to ask, can you give us some teasers about what we can expect from Mascot? But there it is.
There's that. Obviously there's another Black-owned collab coming down the pipe.
Can you tell us about that?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I can't tell you much about it, but it'll be coming out in February.
Any events at the brewery in Etobicoke that because when you told me about the steel drum stuff, and I wish I could have got there for that one, but I love what you're doing with events in Etobicoke, where it's not just like, hey, come drink and we're gonna have some food. You're bringing culture and to your events. It's not
definitely
so tell me about that.
Well, I think like we're trying to build that community, right? And one of the best ways for us to do that is through the events that we put on. But then we have like our just fun events. We have Ales from the Crypt coming right now for Halloween.
Nice.
That's our annual party. We have a Christmas market after that.
And who do you work with for the Christmas market? That's with Atoba.
No, that's just you.
Yeah,
guys. That's us. Yeah. We coordinate.
So that's one of the great things about Etobicoke is we all have Christmas markets and they're all busy, which is great. So, we're short on time here, man. But we're gonna ask two questions from your fans that came in through Instagram, and then I got some rapid fire questions for you. So, questions from fans. Mimico Mike. Mimico Mike. Do you know Mimico Mike?
Yeah, I do now.
Okay. Asks, it's not this guy behind the mic here, it's the other. Will the band of brewers join forces again for South Etobicoke Brewers? Those brewery crawls were awesome.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun. I don't know why we haven't done that, Troy.
It's I'm trying to get everyone back together, but now did your hat get stolen one year? Was that your hat?
Yeah. One of the people stole my hat. Drunk person.
That was so we had a bus crawl and we went around to all the breweries in Etobicoke, and I remember we were having beers, and we got it back on the bus, and I think you text me like, "Hey, someone stole my hat," and I'm looking, and like, there's a white hat with a mascot, and she's like, "Yeah, I took it."
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you think we'll ever get back together?
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm game.
Yeah, mascot is game. Neil asks, "Have you ever done a collab with Great?" Oh, this is a good question. Have you ever done a collab beer with Great Lakes Brewery?
We have not. No. Yeah, that'd be
They've
something.
Never asked us, by the way.
Be something we got to do.
We should do so. Okay, on this episode right now, we will commit to doing one in the near future.
Okay.
We're going to hear an ad, and then we're going to come back to some rapid fire questions, have a sip of that beer, and we'll be right back with Aaron and rapid fire.
Cool.
Okay.
Here we go. When you hear the music, go for it.
Will do. The GLB Brew Pub. 20 taps of the finest craft beer. Amazing food like burgers, pizza, Taco Tuesday. And check the retail store for amazing GLB beer, merch, and accessories. Open 11 to 11 at 11 Lower Jarvis Street, right near Sugar Beach. We know where you're going tonight. The GLB Brew Pub. A great place to see, the best place to be.
Nailed it.
He had a sip of his burst, and I've had a sip of my old Dusseldorf. We're back with rapid fire questions with Aaron. What beer have you been enjoying recently?
The Great Lakes Burst.
No, something else. Even name one of your own. It doesn't matter to me.
I've been drinking the. I don't honestly drink that often, but I was drinking the Mondo the other day. I really like that beer.
The Mondo?
The session IPA that we do.
Okay.
It's a West Coast session.
Name your celebrity doppelganger.
My celebrity doppelganger? Oh, my God. I don't know, man.
Okay, we'll come back to that.
Yeah, I can't even think of anybody.
Name a person or brewery in the industry that continues to or has inspired you.
I mean, Troy Birch.
Oh, Jesus Christ. No, something else.
Huh? So someone else? I mean, Garrett Oliver.
Nice.
Obviously.
Okay, I know I was rapid fire. I screw myself every time. Have you met Garrett Oliver?
Once.
He is, years ago, he came to Toronto, and I was in a position where I got to interview him for a magazine, but then we went around bar after bar after bar drinking for 2 days.
Nice.
That dude knows his beer.
Yeah.
He knows how customer service. It was just a phenomenal experience. So we did that, and then a couple years later, he came back to Toronto, and we went back out again because back then they had beer. Brooklyn Brewery was in the LCBO.
Oh,
it was a great time.
Now.
So, what's that?
I wonder why I signed in.
They sold to Carlsberg, I think.
Did they?
So yeah. Sure. Best time and place for a beer.
Best time and place for a beer, I would say after work.
If you could only drink one beer for the rest of your life, what would it be?
One beer for the rest of my life. I'd have to say lightweight lager, sorry.
Okay. Favorite place to grab a beer in Toronto?
Favorite place? I don't even know if it's there anymore, but the bar on Queen Street West.
There's a lot of those.
It was called Bar.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. Okay, we're going to say bar on Queen Street West. Favorite bar in the world?
Oh, my God. Favorite bar in the world? Shoot. I have to say Milk and Honey.
Oh, yeah? Where's that?
Yeah, New York.
New York. I was hoping you weren't going to say like Stubborn Goat in Halifax or something like that.
Oh, shit. I didn't even think about Halifax. Damn. Yeah, I like the goat.
Yeah, the goat?
Yeah.
Okay. Not Maxwell's Plum.
I like Maxwell's Plum too, man.
What else in Halifax? Where else do you go?
Stillwell.
Stillwell, yeah.
There's an amazing spot. Obviously the Liquor Dome.
Yeah. The liquor dome. Oh, Jesus.
I think just got an infraction.
St. John's L, St. John Ellis or whatever.
Lower Deck.
The Lower Deck's great.
Yeah. I used to work there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. The music is great at Lower Deck. And I've seen a couple people pushed off the pier there into the water, which is not that great to get into.
You don't want to swim in that.
You got to get an ambulance if you get pushed off.
Don't swim in that.
Best hangover cure.
Pedialyte and coconut water.
Coconut water. Hey, there's two. That's mine. That's mine.
It?
Yeah. A pillow and coconut water is for me. Aaron, that was awesome, as I knew it would be. It's always great when we can bend elbows together, talk shop. And the laugh, I always say the laugh, it always gets me. You got the best laugh in the industry.
Thank you.
You know it too.
No one's ever said that to me, but thank you.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on, seriously. Thanks for coming on the show and sharing your story. I think everyone out there needs to hear your story, and I'm really humbled that you came on and told it today. So thanks so much, and
thank you for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers.
At Bossa Nova, we have more than 400 products you won't find at the LCBO. Our craft beer comes from local faves and legendary producers like Driefonteinen, Bruton, and Hitachino. Our wines are the ones sommeliers bring into better restaurants, rarely available to take home. We have Basque cider, Normandy cider, Italian, Californian, as well as the finest from Ontario. Next door, relax and enjoy our outstanding selection in the newly opened Bar Bossa Nova. Bossa Nova, in Roncesvalles Village. We've got a lot of stuff you're gonna love.
The man, the myth, the legend. Cole Race comes is here with his Cole's Notes. He's going to be talking about multiple antimicrobials, layers of beer which make it safe to drink. You stumped me again, Cole. Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another Cole's Note segment. Today we're going to be talking about the antimicrobial properties of beer, which protect it from food pathogens. So fermentation is a popular way to preserve food, such as making cabbage into sauerkraut. But it has also been used historically to purify water when clean drinking water wasn't available. Some of the nastiest bugs that beer is safe from include Salmonella, Listeria, E. coli, Staph aureus, and botulism. But there are 3 layers of protection that keep our beer safe: pH, alcohol, and hops. So, when fermenting, our beer naturally creates an acidic environment, lowering the pH of our wort. A low pH does not kill existing pathogens in our wort, it just prevents them from growing to reach a certain volume where it can be deemed unsafe. This is why it's extremely important that we sterilize our wort by boiling it before sending it to the fermentation vessel. Our target pH of all of our packaged products is below 4.5, as that has the greatest effect on preserving the beer without altering its flavor. However, there are still some strains of bacteria that can reproduce and even thrive in acidic environments, which is why it's important to combine it with 2 other factors. Another byproduct of fermentation is alcohol, specifically ethanol. Unlike pH, alcohol actively kills bacteria by denaturing the coagulation proteins in their cell wall. Think of the bacterial cells like water balloons and the alcohol as a pin. As soon as the alcohol disrupts the cell wall of the bacteria, the cells rupture or lyse, killing the bacteria. However, there are still some strains of bacteria that are resistant to alcohol or need a much higher percentage than beer has to kill them, which is why we need one more layer of protection. Hops are one of the 4 main ingredients of our beer, and while they are very important to the flavor and bitterness of the beer, they protect the beer from a range of microorganisms too. Alpha acids and beta acids contribute to the bitterness and aroma of the beer, and bromines aid in the clarification and other key processes during fermentation. However, these compounds that are naturally found in the hops also disrupt the normal function of bacterial cells, such as respiration and replication, causing them to die. It's important that beer has all 3 of these protective layers, for any single one is not sufficient by itself. I would also like to say, if you're sick with food poisoning, beer won't fix that. Go to a hospital. Who knew that science could taste so good and safe?
Botulism IPA. Name of a new beer or no?
Don't do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Cole. Again, I learned something every time we speak. Thank you.
No problem. Take care, Troy.
Around the industry.
another slower week in around the industry segment here. I mentioned it though on the last episode, so I won't dwell on it too long today, but the Ontario Craft Brewers Association is getting set to launch a new campaign aimed at educating the public and the provincial government and the bureaucrats that go with that about the need for modernization of the way beer is taxed in Ontario. Aaron, like Mascot, how could a change help you in taxation in Ontario, where you got your basic beer tax, you got your volume tax, you got your, how did you put it? Did you do cans or did you do draft? Would you welcome a modernization of the tax movement in Ontario?
Yeah, I think it'd be great if we didn't have to pay tax.
That'd be amazing.
I mean, why do we have to pay both?
I still don't understand why we still have to pay a 9-cent can tax for everything.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So how can so the Ontario Craft Brewers Association, they will talk about how a change will not only help small independent breweries today, but how it will help grow the industry and how the spin-off industries associated with everything in beer and tourism related will for years to come, how that will help them. So stay tuned. That's coming any day now. I was in Ottawa during JLB Beer Week and popped in to see the new digs at Beyond the Pale Brewery in the recently acquired space in the Byward Market area. It's massive. It's huge. It's got an amazing courtyard, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be great for Ottawa. Beyond the Pale, they're currently working to get it open by November. Shane, if you're listening, I don't think that's going to happen, but keep going, man. It's a huge spot. Jordan St. John has shared details about a new brewery opening over at the Growler in his bi-weekly news and notes column. Ends Well, which is a great name for a brewery. Ends Well Brewery opened their doors this past Thanksgiving weekend in Collingwood after their 10-year dream in the making project came true. Co-owners and partners in life and in business, Dana and Mike, who met years ago at Steam Whistle Brewery, bring over 20 years of beer experience to the brewery. So congratulations to Enswell. Some good news in the industry that we have a brewery opening and not closing. So job openings. Great Lakes is currently looking for someone that is self-motivated, detail-oriented, highly organized, and comfortable working independently and as a team, and on and on and on and on and on. This person will be looking after Southwestern Ontario retail channel sales. So that's LCBO, TBS, and convenience and grocery. We can't forget grocery. If you're interested and or know anyone, please have them reach out to info@greatlakesbeer.com. And that's it. That's all, folks. Episode 20 with Aaron Prothro, the Chill Master, has moved from the mash tun to the fermenters. Today's episode was fueled by cans of Old Dusseldorf Alt Beer, which you can find online at greatlakesbeershop.ca or at both GLB retail store locations. Also, keep an eye out for it on tap at terrific beer bars across Ontario. It's so bloody good. You can visit that brewery at 30 Queen Elizabeth Boulevard in Etobicoke or grab some delicious eats and fresh pours at our brew pub at 11 Lower Jarvis Street in Toronto. If you have any content you'd love to hear us discuss on this show, guest ideas, and or just want to tell us what you're drinking, drop us a line at podcast@greatlakesbeer.com. Until next time, please remember to keep tipping your glass of fresh GLB in the right direction. Supporting local never tasted so good.
To learn more about what's happening at Great Lakes Brewery, visit greatlakesbeer.com and subscribe to our weekly newsletter or follow Great Lakes Beer on your favorite social media platforms.